Hello, my name is Miss Cindy, and I work with the half-day class. We learn lots of different things in our half-day class, but one of the things I would like to focus on is math. We do math, and we have several different ways to incorporate math into our activities that we have during the day. We focus on the children learning to see the numbers, recognize numbers, count, and other things that have to do with math. We incorporate math in our art activities. Yesterday we did 10 apples up on top, so the children had to count 10 apples and put them on top of their head that they drew a face on. We also use some worksheets that we do. We have printouts that we do that the children can individually count and we use blocks, and then we have other things that they could do in class. One of the things we have is just actually counting. So here is a snowflake sheet, and the children have to count how many snowflakes are in each row. And they could choose to write the number, and for those that are still learning to write and to form the numbers, we use blocks. So they could say, well, there are 1 snowflake, 2 snowflakes. So there are different ways to use each one of these sheets. And we do have them try to write it. Sometimes we have to trace, and the children will go over what we have written. But this is a counting worksheet. Then we have the actual numbers. So we will ask the children, what are the numbers? And then they can take the blocks and count them out also. How many blocks would you put here? 1. This is also an activity that the children will be able to do on their own. Sometimes we have teacher-directed activities, and other times we have things that they could do on their own. So they would set up this, and they would put the number of blocks according to the number that they see on the paper. We incorporate our colors into this, which the children, they first of all have to recognize the number. Then we have the word, the color word, written in that color. So this one would be 2 red blocks. So they would find 2 red blocks, and they would put them, they can lay them on the paper, or can they just count them out, 2 red blocks. And then they move on to the other and match the colors and say the number. When we first start out working with numbers, we have children that already know numbers. We have children that can recognize a few numbers, but by the time we finish with our class for the session, we hope that they know all of their numbers, because these are things that they'll be using for their lifetime. We also try to incorporate early math problems like addition. So they can still use the blocks, count out how many blocks would be here on this number. And usually we ask them to use different colors, because it's easier to count when you have different colors. So they could choose a color, and they would put 3 blocks here. Then they could choose another color and put 2 blocks here. Then they can count all of the blocks together and come up with the answer to the problem. It may seem hard for 3 and 4-year-olds, but some of them really enjoy doing this. And we are glad that they do, because this really helps them learn the concepts of math. We also have papers like this where they can use different colors, and they could count the number of yellow squares. They could count the number of red squares. They could also use the blocks and set them up on the certain colors and count how many there are. So we have different patterns for them to use with our blocks, different colors. So not only are they using their writing skills, they're using their math skills, they're counting, they're matching colors, and it just all comes together, and it's just a fun activity. And when you're having fun, you're learning. We have one more thing here. They can still recognize the numbers and put the blocks in here and count the numbers. We did a math activity the other day, and the children had to recognize the number, pick out the block, and sit it in the little tray. And then our ones that really love to count, we counted all the blocks that we had in here. So we have these little things that they could use, or some of them like to take the blocks, 1, 2, because these are stackable blocks, 3, 4, and so on and so on, and then we'll count how many blocks that they built up high. So math can be very fun. It really can. So I hope that everyone enjoys math as much as we do. Thank you. Bye-bye.